Hi, fellow Django developers. Zakai here from alwaysdjango.com, where we discuss interesting Django topics that help you grow, improve as a Django developer. So, if that sounds interesting, like, subscribe, share this video to anyone you feel will find this video important. Let's get into it. So, before we continue, I want to apologize again. If you watched the video before this one, you know that I've been apologizing. I'm very, very sorry for not uploading. I've been very, very busy. I'm back to school. The schedule is very tight. I'm saying please forgive me. I hope to improve. I hope that, like, I'm in my final years, so you know how it is. I'm very, very, very sorry. I hope you forgive me, but we have to continue, right? So in the last tutorial, we discussed the Django generic view. The last tutorial in this playlist, the Django generic views playlist, right? If you don't know about the playlist, you should go and check it out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. We have discussed list view, a lot of things already. Create view, list view, detail view, we have update view. Now the last tutorial should be on delete view, right? So today we are going to discuss the generic view itself, right? So the generic, you know how, like, for instance, you want to handle post request in a Django application, and you have, maybe you have a view function, right? Let me say view function, we name it this, whatever. So request, right? So typically in a Django view function, what you do is you say if request dot method is equal to post, right? Is equal to post, right? If you want to handle post request, right? Then outside of this block, you now return, for instance, you return render and return return a template, right? This is how you typically do it in a Django application, right? So, but with the generic view, the Django views generic view, you get the opportunity to, like, handle request, like request method, like the post request as a method, right? So let's see what I'm trying to say. So from Django, let's import the generic view from Django dot views. We import view with a capital V, right? If you have noticed in other imports, in the other videos, we have been importing from Django.views.generic, right? But here we are importing from Django.views, right? So a little bit of difference, right? But it's just the same idea, right? So the next thing will be creating your class, your request handling class. So class, we call it, let's say, generic view, right? Then we inherit from this view class right here. We inherit from this view class right here, right? So like I said, this view class handles request methods as a method in your class, right? So in this method, we have things, like get self request, then let's say pass, then we have post self request, right? So the whole idea is that when a request comes into this view, if it's a get request, this method runs. If it's a post request, this method runs, right? So that's the whole idea of this generic view, right? So when a request comes into this view class, if it's a get request, right, this method will run, this get method will run here. When it's a post request, this post method will run, right? So let's say for our get, we want to return a HTTP response saying this is a get request, right? Obviously for you, you know what you want to do, you know what you want to, how you want to handle your request and your response and etc. So let's say for here, we say this is a post request, right? So if we go back to our terminal, let's start our server, python manage.py run server, right? So while that starts, we go to our urls.py, right? So in our urls.py, our server is starting here. Let me simply close it. So in our urls.py, we import the generic view we just created, right? This class we just created here, we import it, right? So if we import it, we come down here, we'll come here, let's come here and say, so let's say part, right? What's the part? The part, let's say generic view, right? Then we use this view that we created as view, right? If you watch the last tutorial, you know why this as view this as view method is important. Obviously, it's because we are using a class, right? We are not using a view, like a function view, right? So that's why you need this as view, right? So after that, let's just add a name, just because generic view, right? So our server is on right now. Our server is on. So if we open, okay, I have something else running on this. I have something else running. Let me close this, close this, right? If we go back again and reload, this is it, right? So our URL path for this generic view is this. So let's copy this, go back to our browser. Let me make this bigger, right? Go back to our browser. On our path right here, we press this, press enter, right? You can see this is a get request, right? This is a get request. So let's say, for instance, let's say let's return a template here and make a post request to it. So in the template, let's say generic views.html, right? Then we say this, then we say form input type of text, the name will be name. I'm just trying to use this to demonstrate how we can also make post request and handle it. So the request method is post. Let's add our csrf token, right? So what we have to do now is, when we make a get request to this endpoint, then we call this class view, then want to return this template. So we return render, passing our request argument, then the template is this.html, right? So if we go back and reload, so request is not defined. So let's see, let's start this off our server and start again. So if we go back, so you can see we have this form right here, right? You can see we have this form right here. Let me reduce the size of this so that you can see it. You can see we have this form here. Let me add the button, the submit button. Input type is button. The type is submit, then close this, go back, refresh. You can see this button. Let's just add a value to it. Value is submit now, right? So okay, we have a button. I'm sorry guys, this is probably embarrassing, guys. I'm sorry for the mistakes. Probably high, I don't know. So this is the form right here. This is the submit button. So if we click this, we are sending, if we submit that form right here, we are sending a post request back to this URL, back to our URL, right? So we are sending a post request back. So, and we are hopefully that this method will run, right? Because this is the post method and it will run for this is the post method on this class, and it will run for a post request method. So if we go back, let's say this and submit, you can see this is a post request. So let's see, lastly, let's just see how we can, let's say we want to get the input fields, the value in the input fields. How can we do that? Because that's typically what you want to do. You can say name is, this is how you generally do it in Django, name.post.get name, right? So why do we have this name? Get.post is a dictionary containing all the get arguments, the post arguments that was sent during this request, right? The post argument, the post inputs, that's this inputs, all of them, right? If you have something like this, sorry. So if you have something like this, I have age, right? So all of them will be sent as the post request argument, right? So while we have name here, right? So this is a dictionary. Dictionaries in Python, we use this get method to get a value in that dictionary, right? This name should correspond with the name of the input, right? If this is age, right, this should also be age right here, but let's leave it as name. Go back, leave it as name. So if we come here, let's say we concatenate name, right? So depending on the name that was passed in. So if we start our server again, we go back to our browser. Let's say the name is Hezekiah, right? If we submit this, you can see this is a post request Hezekiah, which is the name we concatenated it with, right? So you can do this for anything, any post argument that you want. Maybe you want age, username, etc. So this is how you do it. So this is it for me, guys. This is generally, like this, in the next tutorial we have learned a lot about generic views, right? So in the next tutorial we'll be looking at how to authenticate, right? How to use authentication in these views, right? So authentication obviously is very important. So in the next tutorial we'll be looking at how to add authentication and authorization to, maybe the next one will be authentication, the next one will be authorization to our class-based views in Django. So do well to subscribe and like the video, then turn up the notification in case when we release new videos. I don't know when, obviously it depends on my schedule, but I hope tomorrow it will be possible. So turn on the notification, guys, subscribe, like, and all the good stuffs. And a side note, I'm through with the video. I'm just advertising here. So if you don't know, if you want to learn how to use Django and React, right? So here you can see already I have, this is a React project, right? I'm trying to like do something like remind myself of a few things. So in the next week or next month, we'll start our Django React playlist. It will be very awesome, guys. It will be very, very, very awesome. I recommend subscribing. Personally, I would say subscribe and turn on the notification, because this playlist will be awesome. It will be a boom. So if you want to learn how to use React as your front end, Django as your back end, we'll be using Redux, right? Will not be using Redux in that playlist. Maybe in another playlist, a follow-up playlist, we'll be using Redux, and that's it. So take care of yourself. Have a nice day. I'm out. Peace.